6 police officers came to my house and arrested me. Why? Because I'd been talking about my daughter's school on a WhatsApp group. It was the morning of Wednesday the 29th of January, about 11:45. I was on a Zoom call for a work project, when on my Zoom screen, in the little window where I saw my own face, I realised that 2 police officers were standing behind me. Another 2 police officers were arresting my partner, Rosalind, in front of Francesca, our 3-year-old daughter. They bundled us into the police cars and took us off to custody at Stevenage Police Station, where we remained for the next 12 hours. He arrested me on suspicion of harassment and malicious communications.
So let's get this straight. 2 parents voiced concerns about their child's school in a WhatsApp group, and the police responded by sending 6 uniformed officers to arrest them. Not 1, not 2, 6. Apparently, complaining about school leadership is now on par with planning a heist in Starmer's Britain. Maxie Allen and Rosalind Levine, clearly dangerous masterminds of suburban unrest, were thrown into a cell for 8 hours after daring to send emails and share some frustration in a private chat. Their crime: harassment and malicious communications. In other words, they dared to have an opinion. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the country,
one day, remember this face. I will kill this police. Remember this face. Remember, you will see it on the news. Remember it. Remember it. Remember it. Look this face. You look like from there, making a video.
someone's threatening to kill police in broad daylight, and the same force just shrugs and walks away, probably in case arresting them might seem insensitive. At this rate, you get a softer response from police if you staged a small coup than if you criticized your local PTA. The message seems to be, speak up, and we'll send the riot squad. But if someone actually causes harm, well, we wouldn't want to be judgmental, would we? It's no wonder people are asking if UK officers have any self-awareness left. The sheer absurdity of it all would be funny if it weren't so disturbing. This isn't policing. It's a Monty Python sketch directed by George Orwell. Honestly, the UK feels less like a functioning democracy these days and more like a bad episode of Black Mirror with less technology and more kettles being knocked over by SWAT teams. But hey, at least the WhatsApp group is safe now. God forbid someone shares a meme about the head teacher.
And it was to do with a dispute with our daughter's primary school, which began with posts on a WhatsApp group. On the 23rd of November 2023, the head teacher of my daughter's primary school announced he would retire. But what seemed strange to me was the Board of Governors decided immediately to appoint the deputy head as acting head 10 months later without even advertising the job. So I made some inquiries. I contacted the chair of governors in private and in good faith and asked her to explain what a rationale was and what was going to happen. Her response, in my opinion, was rather evasive. So I asked again, and I wrote to all the governors asking them to explain what was happening and why they decided to do that. I posted that letter in a WhatsApp group. It's a private parents' WhatsApp group. Like most parents, we chunted about a few things. One thing we talked about on that group was a letter from the school commanding all parents not to talk about the school on Facebook or social media or WhatsApp groups. We thought that was a bit off. My partner Rosalind made a handful of vaguely spicy comments. She referred to one school leader as a control freak. She said the chair of governors didn't know much about anything. Out of the blue, on the 12th of July last year, the chair of governors wrote to Rosalind and me. She accused us of posting disparaging and inflammatory comments on WhatsApp and Facebook, and she warned us that if we didn't stop, she would ban us from our daughter's school. So we pushed back. We complained. We denied the accusations. We complained that they'd been accessing our messages, and 2 days later, they banned us from the school. Now, this ban had really serious implications for our daughter, Sasha. She has epilepsy, she's disabled, she has special needs. We weren't allowed to have normal conversations with the school. We could only send emails. So we had to send emails about everything our daughter needed for her health and education. We were going through the school's formal complaints policy, and then on the 20th December, there was a knock on the door. It was a police officer. He told me in no uncertain terms not to contact the school, not to speak to anybody about the head teacher recruitment issue. He even told me to take my daughter out of the school. In the end, we gave up, I suppose. We took Sasha out of the school. 5 days later, the police turned up. When we were finally interviewed, the detective, who'd had no previous involvement with the case, he turned out not to have any evidence of those alleged crimes. He had no documents, he had no first-hand accounts. He just had a vague statement from the acting head teacher at the school. It was Kafkaesque. It was surreal, it was bizarre, it was horrific. Eventually, we were put on police bail and discharged at midnight. We got a £75 cab back to our house in Borehamwood. About 2 or 3 days later, a kind of PTSD began to kick in. I mean, did that really happen? Even now, 2 months later, when I see a police car go by somewhere near our house, I shudder. I think, are they coming back for us again? Eventually, we got a call from the detective in charge of the case. He said to Rosalind, "We're taking it no further." I have found no evidence for these offences. And that was it. It was over. And even now, we still don't know what we're meant to have said or done, which was so terrible, or justified sending 6 police officers to our house. I don't know if we're the first parents to get our collars felt by the police for putting a school's nose out of joint, but I hope we're the last.
Hertfordshire Police has said, following reports of harassment and malicious communications, which are criminal offences, a man and a woman from Borehamwood, both aged in their 40s, were arrested on Wednesday, 29 January. The arrests were necessary to fully investigate the allegations, as is routine in these types of matters. Following further investigations, officers deemed that no further action should be taken due to insufficient evidence. A spokesperson for Hertfordshire County Council said, an interim head was appointed for the one term to allow time for a proper recruitment process to be carried out. The role was advertised publicly and the recruitment was supported by external professional advisors. We are confident that this was a fair, transparent and timely process. A Cowley Hill primary school spokesperson has said, we sought advice from the police following a high volume of direct correspondence and public social media posts from 2 parents, as this was becoming upsetting for staff, parents and governors. We're always happy for parents to raise concerns, but we do ask that they do this in a suitable way and in line with the school's published complaints procedure.